This one is called the Leelo, but like all of these tutorials I do, if you know another name that it goes by, go with that. There are so often multiple names for so many pole moves. This one's going to come from an inside leg hang, and your outside hand is going to be behind your back, much like it would be with like a dragon's tail. Okay. I found with this one, going from a traditional inside leg hang, it doesn't hit quite as comfortably. So yes, you can 100% get into it from an inside leg hang, but I've found with this one going from sort of a mast head invert where that hand is already behind your back, I find puts me in a better place. Reason being, when I go into a regular inside leg hang and then put that hand behind, kind of like you would for dragon's tail, I find I just kind of get stuck on the pole and I end up kind of dragging my ribs along the pole. So for me, this is my personal preference as far as way to enter it, but it does require a different kind of invert. Okay, so this one might not be for anyone. So I'm going to break down how to get into it from this masthead invert, but if you prefer to get into it from an inside leg hang, the contact points and everything are going to be the same. It's just, like I said, I don't particularly like the feeling of it grating across my ribs as I go into it. Go figure. So, as I said, I'm starting this from a different entrance, a masthead-ish entrance versus from a standard invert to an inside leg hang. So I'm going to go into a masthead, and my outside hand is going to wrap behind my back and grab at about waist hip level with the thumb up and in that true grip or handshake grip. From here, I'm going to invert into it and hook my outside leg. Okay, and with it, is this invert harder than a traditional invert? Yes and no. If you are new to inverting, I would not recommend trying this particular invert because your arm is behind your back in a kind of vulnerable position. And if for some reason you don't make it up in an invert, that arm's still behind your back. So you want to make sure that you're a solid inverter before trying this one. If inverting is still a work in progress or it's kind of hit and miss, then you might want to try this from the inside leg hang entrance, which, like I said, I will touch on. It's just not my favorite. Okay, so I'm going from a masthead and from that inverting and hooking the inside leg. As soon as that inside leg is hooked, inside hand is then going to release and grab the leg. Okay, so with all those points in mind, let's see what's going on. This one works on spin or static, personal preference. My pole's on spin. I'm demoing on spin. If you know me, you know that I tend to lean towards spin. So into this masthead. Pulling it into the armpit, outside hand goes behind my back. I'm going to invert, hook my inside ankle, let my torso slide down. Once I'm in this, that inside hand is going to release and grab that outside leg overhead, okay? I'm grabbing my leg straight. Depending on your flexibility, it might be easier for you to bend the leg, grab it in front of your body. Inhale as you grab it, exhale as you extend. To come out, let go of the leg, hand behind the back, comes out fairly easily, and then you end up in a regular inside leg hang, exiting however you prefer to exit from an inside leg hang, okay? So with that foot grab, much like, for example, with a bird of paradise. In the beginning with a bird of paradise, it's much easier to grab with the leg bent and then extend. Over time, as you get more comfortable with it, your active flexibility improves, you can grab with a straight leg. So I would say grabbing with a straight leg takes another level of flexibility and coordination, active flexibility, okay? But initially, to grab that leg with it bent, and I'm grabbing thumb up, okay? So my thumb is pointing towards my face. I'm gonna grab ankle, pull the foot towards your face on the inhale, and then on the exhale, you're gonna extend that leg, very much like a standing bird of paradise, okay? So this one definitely takes some shoulder flexibility, some adductor and hamstring flexibility, okay? This is another one of those overhead funky kind of moves. The Leelo, as far as my understanding of it is this shape with the arm back here, kind of behind your head, holding onto that leg, okay? The other hand is back here. But that being said, if flexibility is a work in progress for you, that shoulder and that leg, make it your own. Maybe you just have this hand behind your back and you grab knee, okay? So don't feel like just because you're not able to go the whole enchilada to not even try the trick. Still, work on it. Maybe you get to here and you grab here, create your Leelo variation, okay? Okay, so with those things in mind, Let's look at it from dropping down into it from an inside leg kick, which, like I said, is not as much my favorite way to get into it, just because I feel like it's less comfortable. But I would say for many, would be an easier way to get into it strength wise. Okay. And once again, some people don't feel the ribs great as much. Sometimes, just our bodies are all a little bit different. One endurance might be easier for one person, harder for another, and vice versa. Let's real quick touch on contact points in this, okay? We've got that hand behind our back. That, of course, is a huge contact point. Our inside leg, so we've got that thigh, ankle, all of that, okay? And then you're gonna have some back right here, shoulder, back, depending on your flexibility, body proportions, all that. How much of this is touching is gonna vary person to person. So your primary things are gonna be that inside leg, but you're not gonna feel the inside leg hang contacts quite the same as you would in a traditional inside leg hang, because as you can see in it, our torso ends up dropping down much more vertical and parallel to the pole, versus in a leg hang, our body has a little more torque to it, to the pole, okay? So it does kind of vary a little bit. But of course, we've got that hand behind our back that's all smushing. All right, so now let's look at this dropping down. Like I said, my less favorite way, but just because it is my less favorite way doesn't mean it can't be your favorite way. Okay, so getting to an inside leg hang however you want to. You can invert up into it, you can descend down into it, whichever. Okay, so inside leg, get that hand behind the back, sink, sink, sink. You've got to really let yourself slide down more vertical, and so your back kind of comes in front of the pole. That other leg comes around. Like I said, you can grab it bent or straight, and then extending the leg. Same exit when you're ready to come out. Release the leg. Hand behind the back will slowly work its way out. And then exiting your inside leg hang however you like to. So, this, my friends, is the Leelo, or at least that's the name that I know it by. You might know it by other names. Works great on spin, works great on static. Okay, this one definitely requires an ample shoulder warm up and adductor hamstring warm up before trying this one. Okay, but the initial moves, the initial entrance doesn't require quite the same kind of, you can play around with it and get a feel for where it's going before you go through that full warm up on flexibility. Okay, so play around with it, have some funsies with it. Try putting it into a combo with some of your favorite moves, or throwing it into an upcoming pole photo shoot. And let me know how it goes, because I love to see.